Hello friends, myself Dr. Nidhi Darbari on My Education Treasure. In my previous video on reinforcement skill of micro teaching, I had discussed about the meaning and types and terms and schedule of reinforcement skill of micro teaching. Today in my present video, I am going to discuss about the components of the reinforcement skill of micro teaching. According to B.F. Skinner, the way positive reinforcement is carried out is more important than the amount. The term reinforcement, meaning strengthening the inbuilt force to respond, is an important concept in psychology whose relevance to teaching and learning is underscored every day in every classroom. Psychologically, it is a technique in strengthening the psychological behavior of the students to learn or a way to increase or maintain behavior. Increasing behavior means making things happen more. Maintaining behavior means keeping things happening often. It is also known as feedback skill, meaning that event which enhances the possibilities of recurrence of the response when a stimulus is produced in the similar situations. It is easy to understand the term reinforcement by calling it reward. Reinforcement means use of such stimuli or their presentation or their removal so that the possibilities of recurrence of some response may increase. For examples, a few words of appreciation increases the possibility of recurring the same behavior of the students. In such a situation, the words of appreciation functions as a stimuli and the resultant behavior of the student is termed as the response. According to Skinner, if the occurrence of an operant or response is followed by the presentation of a reinforcing stimulus, the strength is increased. According to Joshi, the skill of reinforcement can be defined as the art of learning the judicious and effective use of reinforcers by a teacher for influencing the pupil's behavior in the desired direction directed towards pupils' maximum participation for realizing the better results in the teaching learning process. Components of the skill of reinforcement of micro teaching. These reinforcements are in the form of verbal or non-verbal. There are desirable components and undesirable components. There are two types of reinforcers, so the component of reinforcement skill can be categorized into positive components and negative components, such as desirable components are positive reinforcement components which can be subdivided into use of positive verbal reinforcers, use of positive non-verbal reinforcers, use of extra verbal reinforcers. Undesirable components are negative reinforcement components which can be subdivided into use of negative verbal reinforcers, use of negative non-verbal reinforcers, and use of inappropriate reinforcers. Use of desirable components of the skill. Use of positive verbal reinforcers. Positive verbal reinforcers refers to those verbal behavior of the teacher that brings positive reinforcement, that is, increases the chances for the student to respond correctly. Students can be motivated through verbal expression by the use of encouraging words like good, right, excellent, well done, fine, carry on, go ahead, fantastic, splendid, yes, correct, fine, continue, etc. The use of statements, verbal behavior, accepting students' feelings like yes, you have judged correctly, now explain it in detail, repeating and rephrasing or summarizing student responses surrounding students' ideas are other examples. Positive non-verbal reinforcement. Positive non-verbal reinforcers refer to non-verbal without words behavior of the teacher that brings positive reinforcement. The teacher gives comment to students on their correct response without using words. This is done by approval of student response such as nodding the head, smiling, patting, delighted laugh, clapping, looking attentively at the responding students, writing students' answer on the blackboard, teacher's gesture, conveying pleasant feelings, and giving ear to the students indicate positive non-verbal reinforcements. Use of extra-verbal reinforcers. Extra-verbal reinforcers fall between positive verbal and non-verbal reinforcers like aha, uhu, hum, etc. also will encourage students' progress. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to my video to motivate me, share it with others and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Use of undesirable components of the skill. Negative verbal reinforcement. Negative verbal reinforcers refers to the verbal behavior of the teacher that brings about negative reinforcement, that is decreasing the chances for the students to participate in the classroom or respond correctly. It discourages students' participation and should not be used. The teacher gives comments on the incorrect or partially incorrect response by the use of discouraging words and voice tones as in sarcastic voice, by telling that the student's response is incorrect or making remarks like idiot, stupid, no, wrong, incorrect, stop it, nonsense, try something else, remark in a sarcastic way, that is not good, etc. are negative verbal reinforcements. Negative non-verbal reinforcements are negative non-verbal reinforcers refer to the non-verbal without words behavior of the teacher that brings negative reinforcement. Gestures such as frowning, staring, raising the eyebrows, hands and disapproving stares, tapping foot impatiently and walking around the students, looking angrily at the responding students, disapproval by hands, shaking the head when the student gives the wrong response are the examples of such behavior. This type of behavior of the teacher creates fear in the minds of the students and decreases students' participation. Use of inappropriate reinforcers. This is the situation when the teacher does not encourage the student with respect to quality of his response. He uses same type of comment for every response. It is only the proper and right use of the possible reinforcers that brings encouraging results while teaching. Reinforcers should be wisely selected by the teacher. It should suit the nature of the response. Inappropriate use will lessen its effect. Using reinforcers when not needed, not using reinforcers when required, using the reinforcers in a less or excess amount than desired, encouraging or reinforcing only a few responding students in the class are types of the reinforcers that belong to the category of undesirable reinforcement which should be avoided by the teacher. The teacher can withdraw the negative reinforcement in classroom interaction by practicing the reinforcement skill in micro teaching. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video. and don't forget to subscribe.